6:30.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, the timing.
Oh, yeah.
6:15, right?
It depends. You got them all.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Hutchinson City Council meeting for Tuesday, November 13th, 2018. Approve the council agenda. Any agenda additions or corrections?
Well, Mayor, Council, I don't have any additions or corrections at this time.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mary, second by Chad to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Invocation is from Oak Heights Covenant Church. Good evening.
Good evening, Pastor Todd from Oak Heights. Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, would you pray with me? Father God, I want to thank you for these good people. I thank you, Lord, for their position of authority and decision-making in our town. Lord, I pray wisdom for them, that you would bless them, Lord, and help them to have unity and find truth together. I pray in Jesus' name, amen. Thanks, friends.
Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Recognition of gifts, donations, and community service to the city. Does anybody have anything tonight? No, I do have a proclamation, American Legion Centennial Day. Whereas the American Legion has been a staunch advocate for veterans and their families since 1919. And whereas the American Legion was founded on the 4 pillars of care for veterans, a strong nation defense, Americanism, and children and youth. And whereas the American Legion has played a leading role in initiatives and breakthroughs that have affected the lives of Americans in every community, from the U.S. flag code to the GI Bill. And whereas Post 96 has fulfilled the Legion's mission since 1919 through the programs such as Boys and Girls State, Veterans Day presentations, support of the Hutchinson schools and students, and Children's Christmas, and whereas the American Legion is celebrating its centennial in 2018-2019. Now, therefore, I, Gary T. Forcier, Mayor of Hutchinson, do hereby proclaim November 14th, 2018 as American Legion Centennial Day. In witness, therefore, I have undue set my hand to this 13th day of November 2018.
Big year for them.
Yeah. We should all just take a little moment and kind of think of all of our veterans, veterans and the active service members that are abroad protecting our country.
Don't forget.
Years ago.
Public comment, citizens addressing the council. Anybody want to address the council? Okay, we have approval of minutes. We have the regular meeting minutes of October 23rd, 2018, and the hearing minutes of October 23rd, 2018.
Make a motion to accept them as presented.
Second.
Motion by Chad, second by John to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Consent agenda. This will be done by one motion unless somebody pulls something off for discussion. A, we have consideration for approval of resolution number 14965, resolution approving the decertification of tax increment financing district number 11 of the city of Hutchinson. B is approval of traffic control resolutions. Under there's resolution 14966, loading zone signs with the pavement markings to be placed on the southwest corner of the intersection of First Avenue Southeast and Erie Street Southeast. Resolution number 14967, no parking school days, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Signs at various locations. C is approval of improvement project change order, supplement agreement, and work order for letting number 2, project number 18-2, 2nd Avenue Southeast Bridge replacement. D is approval of resolution number 14968, resolution reinstating and adopting assessment on tax forfeiture properties. E is approval of assessment agreement with McLeod County for 2019 services. F is claims and appropriations contract payment register A. Is there anything anybody wants pulled off for discussion?
We should pull off.
Mayor, oh,
Sorry, item A needs to be pulled.
A,
Like B also?
there 80.
I'll make a motion to approve the balance.
Second.
Motion by Chad, second by John to approve the balance. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Matt?
Yeah, we had a typo both in the packet and on the agenda. It's actually tax increment financing district number 7, the city's TIF-approved project area number 4. I know an updated board action form was presented to you with an updated resolution for your consideration.
I'd make a motion to approve Resolution 14965.
I will second that.
Motion by John, second by Chad to approve.
Just as an FYI, this is the Prince of Peace parcel, that project, right?
Correct, yep, the Prince of Peace. And Ehlers, our financial advisor, is recommending the early decertification, just because all the obligations have been met. Instead of generating more increment, we'll get it back on the tax roll. The school and the county can take part in these taxes again.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Steve, B.
Two questions on both. On the two-way communication, loading zone thing by the dog park, I was wondering if we could add time frames on it, like Monday through Friday or whatever their business hours are open, so that people know that it's available to use other times. And Kent?
Yeah, John and I talked about this. John's spoken to the business owner. Evidently, their business hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, and they're fine with that approach also. So, no issue with that.
I'd like that. And then just a question on the school district one, or that area, as far as not allowing parking on these streets for the school hours, 7 to 3, right? It's a large area. I know there was a survey done. Who did that go to? All these homes?
Yeah, maybe defer to John or.
Yeah, if you were to look at the map, it was everybody in that faced those streets.
What was your response rate?
Yeah, the response rate was in the near 70%,
Okay.
and that was probably the number one. The issues that were talked about were mailbox, were services, primarily the mail, and garbage,
Leaf pickup.
leaf, snow,
Right.
those types of services that are provided. If you really look at what this does, it would push the parking to School Road, south of the entrance to the school. And we kind of think that there's a double benefit to that. In number one, certainly School Road is wide enough to accommodate parking on both sides. And then the other thing is that we would likely see the speeds on School Road in that area drop because of the additional activity there and the fact that, as you're driving down the road, you would see vehicles parked on both sides. So in essence, that's what we're trying to do, is shift that parking that's taking place all over in the neighborhoods near the school to School Road by this, so.
No, talk to the school district, how many slots there are in the parking lot versus?
Yes, yeah.
I guess I looked a little.
That's more what Dan was up to.
Dan's
so I'll let him
I
talk.
think
Talking to
Chief
them,
Hatton
yeah.
can, Chief Hatton, you can enlighten us on this, right?
Yeah, so I did meet with the school district, both Darren Vanderheiden and Brian Moore, in regards to this aspect. In addition to what John was saying, the goal too is also to encourage students driving to school to park in the school parking lot. According to the school district, they've done kind of an informal survey, and they roughly counted the cars that were parked in the neighborhood and then connected that with the number of spaces still available, and they believe that virtually all of the cars, all of the students could fit into that new parking layout if they chose. So that's our hope. They'll either be on School Road or they'll be in the school parking lot. So we met with those folks. They do know what this proposal is. They know about this survey, and they're in agreement with it. And their hope too is that their students go into the school parking lot in that regard, and we'll see what happens with that. So yeah, they were directly involved. The school district was directly involved in this process.
Yeah, just wanna
So
make sure
Dan-
there
Just
was
so
space.
everybody's aware, and Dan's more familiar with this than I am, the school does charge a fee to park within their parking lot. So there's that dynamic in the background of this also.
Yeah, and the school districts had said they were obviously aware of all of that, and they were willing, not necessarily in the middle of this school year, but they were willing as a school district and a school board to at least look at that possibility of, is the fee they're charging now consistent with other schools? Is it high or is it lower, or whatever the case may be? So at least they're willing to at least address it or take a look at it for a possibility.
Is it common practice for high schools to charge to park on their own property?
According to the school district, yes, it is very common that occurs, that they charge that fee.
And I think the fee they charge isn't that great
Yeah,
compared to other.
yeah, it's $50 for the entire school year. I think it works out to, don't quote me on this, but I think to about 45 cents a day for parking. So that, doesn't seem to be all that tough. The other part that's a benefit for us from the police department standpoint in regards to having, not that they charge the students a fee, but the permit process, it does help us in regards to dealing with car issues that are in that parking lot. So if they have an issue with a particular car, it's easy for them to check their records and that permit number as to who's responsible for that automobile. So from an enforcement standpoint, it does have some benefit to have those permits within the school.
Do you know how large that parking lot is, Dan? How many cars?
I do not know how many it can hold.
I don't recall, when we
Because
rebuilt
there's
it
a
years
lot
ago.
of cars on the streets.
Pardon?
There's a lot of cars on the streets.
There are a lot of cars in the street, and then obviously it's, again, as 10th graders, there are more and more individuals getting their driver's licenses, and so those cars, as the school year goes on, those cars or number of cars can possibly increase. But I take it at school district's word, their informal survey, they believe they could fit all, if not, or most of, if not all, of the cars.
Yeah, there are a lot of spots empty
Yeah.
during the day.
I did drive around the area around 2:15 this afternoon. There were some, but Wasn't as much as I might have thought, though the little circle drive, that was full in one area off a boulder. But, definitely can understand from the service aspect, like you said, and the issues that that generates, so. Just wanted to make sure people seem to be aware and supportive, the neighbors who it's going to affect, so.
Yeah, and according to our school resource officer, the school district is actually waiting for the decision with council, if it's approved, because they actually wanted to take an active role in sending a letter out to the parents of all the students to let them know of what is and will be a significant parking change for the students around the school.
I know the one resident wanted us to tow the cars quite often.
Yeah, I think there were a few neighbors that probably would have allowed the city council to buy a tow truck for the police department if it would have expedited some issues, so.
I was amazed that we're all the way up to Larson Street. That's a long ways from the school.
Yeah,
At the
and
same time,
Yeah.
if we aren't, maybe we're just pushing them
Pushing it out.
to
exactly.
so that's why.
The only other option is permits, parking permits, stickers. I mean, Minneapolis, we had that where you had to have the sticker for your neighbor.
yeah, and really, the biggest problem or the challenge with that is you need staff to, somebody who needs to have staff who can constantly address it for those permits to be in effect. And, we as a city just don't have that ability, or I shouldn't say we don't have that ability, we don't have that service at this point in time.
Squad.
Well, we can, if the city council looks at hiring more people, but that's not what I'm asking for.
Asking again for more people?
Larson Street, I was blown away by how far away from the high school you were. But,
Well, you definitely see them on K, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not that far away.
It keeps them healthy.
I guess we'll find out how willing or how far they're willing to walk, and
Right.
is what it boils down to park on city streets.
Any other questions for Chief Ann?
I would just note that if, regarding Councilmember Cook's comments on over by the dog park, you would have to make some sort of amendment to that resolution if you're going to change anything.
So should that come back since it's a resolution, or?
But you could have, if there's
Just
obviously a
amend it?
majority vote of the council, you could approve it with whatever condition you wanted to add on to that resolution if you had a majority support of the council.
Just add during business hours?
Yeah, just to, I would make a motion to approve both, but on the two-way communication site.
Steve, I would have them separate.
Separate?
Okay.
We already made a motion on that one. Seven. That one's already done.
No, I was talking about between B1 and B2.
We didn't vote.
Yeah.
So, all right, so I'd make a motion on, to approve the two-way communication one, which is resolution number 14967. No, it isn't, that's the wrong one.
It's 6-6.
Yeah, 14966.
Yep.
To have staff look or work with the business owner to, or should we just say Monday through Friday?
I think we could, at this point, we can go Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30.
I'll make that a
During-
motion.
I'll second it. Motion by Steve, second by myself for resolution number 14966 with additions. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And then on resolution number 14967, which is over by the school, high school area, let's make a motion to approve.
I'll second that one too.
Just
Motion by-
for council's information, that we'll be doing everything we can to implement that, but the weather and time of year is really not
about that.
conducive to putting in new signposts, and so we'll, like I said, we'll do what we can. particular to maybe to get some bottom posts in right away. And then, we'll probably cone those off. It'll take some time to order the materials and
John,
get
don't say
everything
that.
here.
I want some warm weather.
Yeah, well, I do too. I'm with you. I'll vote for that, so.
Are you gonna
Yeah.
send out any notices to the property owners about the changes like you did with the survey? This would be an opportunity
We
time-wise.
can
to
do that and just kind of help them understand the timing
Yeah.
and some of those things, so. Definitely can do that, so.
And so this really won't take effect until the signs are up.
Correct.
And there are some already.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
I
extending
think we'd
them.
probably focus on some of the obvious ones first and, yeah, so.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We have claims and appropriation and contract payment, Register B. I do have a check there for my company, so I will abstain from the vote.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Motion by Chad, second by Mary to approve Register B with me abstaining. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We do not have a public hearing. Communications, requests, and petitions. Discussion on ordinance 18-793, ordinance amending chapter 95 of the city code.
Mayor and council, this revision actually probably started back in May or June of this past year. This is, you may recall, this was probably after we had some discussion about kind of renting out the
Song stage.
the River Song stage and some of the questions that came up with that. At that time, I thought it'd be prudent to go back and take a look at our ordinance. And actually, our ordinance didn't address a whole lot within our parks ordinance compared to what other cities did. And so I worked with Dolph and City Attorney Savora to put together some revisions to that to kind of cover a little bit of everything that we do. And some of it was unwritten rule. Some of it would be some new policy that we'd be establishing to put that into a more encompassing ordinance. So we put that together. It was reviewed by the park board. They have recommended approval of the ordinance. Obviously, with this being a little bit bigger than normal, I wanted to at least have an opportunity for the council to look at it, to have some review. Depending on how the conversation goes tonight, I'd bring it back to the council at likely your next meeting for first reading of the ordinance.
As I recall, this would be helpful sometimes with the PD too, where there's been issues but there's nothing that's been adopted to
Correct.
help them through those situations.
We've had some issues with loitering within our parks, but we didn't have anything on the books. I mean, that said, they couldn't be in there at a certain time, so.
So the way I read this, it would prohibit people from walking through libraries, the diagonal sidewalks after 11 PM.
Actually,
Yeah.
gonna ask
Seemed
for
a
any,
little-
for any of the trails that I think in the definition of parks, I think there should be
And I'll say that's why I didn't
exclusion.
include sidewalks and trails in the definition of parks, but if there was, I suppose, a desire to include some sort of language.
Just to make it clear,
That would be allowed.
Yeah,
Those activities would be allowed.
yeah.
To walk.
Walking.
Well,
bicycles or whatever.
yeah, I could see being on the trail, and you don't want people, hanging out in the band shell or anything, but if they're like leaving, say, Main Street and walking
Right.
home, I could see them, as long as they're on the sidewalk or on the trail. You know,
Riding their bike home
Is
from
that
downtown.
the intent of it, Mark? Or-
Well, I will say, I think that was actually a conversation Mark and I had, and that's why I purposely did not include trails and sidewalks in the definition of a park.
Seems we had that sort of discussion earlier today.
But here's the gentleman who is responsible for interpreting.
Well, and hopefully not for like another 40 years, it could change over, but you're gonna wanna make it clear for, I would, and that's even maybe some language that Mark and I can come up with for the first reading, something that excludes
Transportation.
transportation or
on
walking
trail.
from one point to another. And you don't, this is where it gets tough. Okay, I'm loitering in the park, it's 1 in the morning, well, now I'm just gonna hop on the trail, so then,
Right.
I'll sit here.
I'll see you, so then I'm not.
Safe zone.
I'm
So
just
now I'm not
resting.
in violation of it, so I'm sure there's probably some language if you're community, or if you're, I don't know what you call it, but.
Or if you don't think it's necessary, that's fine.
Well, the main thing with any of these ordinances, you want them to be clear so law enforcement can enforce them easily. And, I certainly think you're making a good point as far as trying to make that somewhat more clear. So Matt and I certainly can take a look at that.
Chief Hatton, as long as you're still here, what do you think about this?
I should say, we did run it by Chief Hatton. Yeah.
And you're the one that, your officers are the one that have to deal
Yeah,
with it. so-
and I think where Matt and Mark are going with this in regards to the parks is exactly trying to find that verbiage that allows people to utilize those trails that they're walking through or biking through that park, and not for individuals who are loitering in the park just to be standing, on the trail going, well, it's not a violation if I'm standing on the trail. So I think we can come up with that verbiage in regards to that piece, and something that is acceptable and yet enforceable if need be.
In motion on the sidewalk.
Sorry, yes. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Chief.
The other thing I'd ask Matt about, but, it doesn't talk about a penalty, kind of the enforcement aspect of it, but apparently there's
Yeah, there's
somewhere-
section 10.99, which is basically, correct me if I'm wrong, references the city code. And so violations of the city code, which adoption of the ordinance would put this into the city code. I don't know if you feel
Right.
there's still a need to acknowledge a penalty, or?
I don't think so, unless you think that there has to be a certain penalty for violation of this ordinance. But the section that Matt's talking about is basically, wherever there's an ordinance without a penalty specified in it, that 10.99 is like the catch-all provision that, hey, if there isn't a specified penalty, the penalty is X, and that X is a misdemeanor crime.
Okay. Just somewhere I thought, just want to make sure there's something to support us if we need it.
Tobacco-free parks, I was trying to figure out what the logic was behind Tartan Park as opposed to like Roberts Field and stuff like that too. Where, why do we only lay out Tartan Park, the skateboard park, and that as the places that are tobacco-free?
My understanding, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, is that there's a history to this,
That,
and that's why I don't know if that's correct or not, but that was the general response that I had of why it's not completely citywide. I don't know if any of you guys were around or remember any of that, so.
Yeah, we talked at one time about maybe making all the parks smoke-free, and got some pushback on that. Some of these were identified more as areas where youth are majority, a lot of uses. Though I think maybe there is opportunities for Riverside, the ball
Roberts
field.
Field, the ball fields at Roberts Field, that seemed to me to tie back to what Tartan Park is used for.
Tartan Park, yeah, it's a skate park, that's
Skate
the
park, the
area around VMF, so.
so.
Guess that could be looked at a future date, but
Yeah.
maybe that's
Yeah,
something.
that's just.
Could you ask the park board, talk about that, or did they? Yeah. Is it think of Northwoods or Riverside ball fields? Maybe there's some other opportunities.
And I know you sit on, did that conversation
It was
come up at all?
not
Okay.
brought up. We talked a lot about the hours of stuff, like are we on the right hours, like especially the campground, how late should it be, rowdy or not? But we didn't talk about tobacco, so.
Well, they do have quiet time in here.
Yep,
Yeah.
So,
yep.
yeah.
Yeah, we talked a lot about
Right,
that kind
yeah.
of thing, but.
And I think that was whether it was 10 or 11, right? Was that some conversation? So-
And then my last question was on glass receptacles. I understand why we don't want glass receptacles in parks, but it seemed problematic with Library Square Arts and Crafts Festival. There's a lot of people selling glass bottles and stuff there. Also, we just had, Landy's or Main Street selling glasses of wine or something at Music in the Park. We had that this year. West River Park, you're camped at West River Park in your RV and stuff. The way I read this, you can't have a glass bottle in your RV. I think there's,
No, and I would say that's, I think, up for discussion. I mean, that, I've seen more, we did research on this, more and more cities are eliminating glass from
Yeah.
parks. We don't have to jump on that bandwagon, if you want to say.
I'm not opposed to
And I think
eliminating
mainly
it,
the
but-
reason, obviously, is the maintenance issue
Yeah,
of it.
well, yeah, just the hazard of cut feet on glasses and stuff.
Yep. And I will say, obviously, that becomes one of those tricky issues for enforcement, so. But
If people want to just email me their concerns, I could bring them to the next park board meeting. We could maybe clean it up a little bit.
yeah, and I've got some notes for you, too, Chad.
Some of the event-wise, it's been talked about, like at Berry Square, they'll serve something in glass, and so that gets approved as part of the approval piece, but other things.
Yeah. I was, and what I really thought about was RVs at West River Park, and it's like, so, okay, you've got glass in your vehicle, and
Right.
No, I think those are some fair discussion points.
And they sit out in the mornings when they get up and have their cup of coffee in a glass mug.
well, it could be a
So-
ceramic mug, though,
Yeah.
from Clay Coyote.
Could be.
Maybe amend it just to have ceramic everywhere.
Yeah.
Glass.
The glass if it breaks.
No, I think those are some fair items to have some further discussion on.
Any other discussion on this?
So I would probably anticipate then it might be end of December, maybe even the first part of January. Council then.
Yeah, because sometimes we don't have a December Parks Board meeting, so.
Alrighty, any other discussion on it? Okay, moving on, unfinished business, ordinance number 18-792, ordinance authorizing the sale of municipally owned land to Hutchinson Health, second reading and adoption.
Mayor, council members, this is basically part two of what you started at the last council meeting. As you recall, the city charter requires an ordinance be passed anytime that city-owned land is conveyed outside of the ownership of the city. And as a part of the transaction with Health Partners in the hospital, there were two parcels that were remaining to be conveyed, and that's the thrift store property on Main Street and the Regional I property on Fremont near the hospital. And this is a second reading. Nothing's changed since the first reading, so I'd ask that you adopt it.
A motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Steve, second by Mary to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Under new business, consideration for approval of holiday parade of lights on December 8th, 2018.
Sorry. Ken and I didn't have this conversation prior to the meeting, so.
Oh,
Yeah, it was brought to my attention in regards to having this parade for what they hope to be an annual event as part of the Downtown Association's Christmas celebration. We've reviewed it, looked at the route, which is, and I'm sure you're all familiar, but basically with the Memorial Day Parade, it will be the exact same route on Hassan Street, just work in reverse. So they will stage at Veterans Park on First Avenue there. And then they will go southbound on Hassan Street to basically Fourth, where Faith Lutheran Church is. The only thing that really will be different is my approach will be to actually add additional police officers, at least at the major intersections, Washington and Second, just because of the hour and the darkness, to increase safety so that there's something there in addition to just barricades to control traffic. Again, I believe the parade is at least initially going to be fairly small. I think in their proposal, it was 30 to 45 minutes that it would take total. I reviewed it. I don't have a problem. We certainly would have staff to cover that event. And it should be an event, if approved, that should go without any issue.
Yeah.
Is this just cars or?
No, it's going to be floats.
Yeah,
Floats with lights on them.
Anything.
Yeah.
I think they want it to be like a small Arladazzle, like
Right.
they have in Arlington, because that one's gotten pretty wild.
Right, where they've
Ten.
actually used like fire trucks and different
Right.
things that they've actually attached lighting to make it more of a Christmas or a holiday float.
I think it's a good idea.
I was,
You
and I
know,
was,
start out small and get big.
I can't take the credit like Mark did, but I was in Arlington when they started it, and it blew up. They have a pretty big event that goes on when they do it, so.
I will confess, I've actually done my research and I've been at that event, and it is extraordinarily well-attended, and it is a lot of fun, and people do really seem to enjoy it, both when the weather is decent and even when it was bitter cold. There were a large number of people who attended that event.
Yeah, actually, it's Downtown Association, well, in cooperation with the Hutchinson Lions and Down with Diabetes. So there's 3 organizations they're working hard to make this a success, and hopefully that will be an annual thing. So,
So I was
Right,
just,
and they're taking donations.
yes.
so I was just wondering if it does pass through like Washington Avenue quickly and the barricades there be removed so that like people can get to the State Theater and.
Yeah, so generally, even with the Water Carnival Parade, which obviously is significantly larger, those roads generally aren't shut down till like a half hour before, and then, again, using the Water Carnival Parade, as soon as Main Street is cleared, those barricades are picked up so traffic can flow. So that would be the same thing here. We wouldn't close that road till right before the parade was beginning, and then as soon as that parade had cleared those 4 blocks or so, those barricades would be picked up and traffic would move again.
Sounds fun.
And actually, it's Downtown Association's Christmas party too, they're the downtown Christmas party. So there'll be, I heard reindeers and Santa and all that, so
Is Bobby Paulson here?
no, he's
No.
not.
No.
Thank you.
So what's your pleasure?
I make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Motion by Chad, second by Mary to approve. All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of resolution number 14969, canvassing of election returns from the city general election held on November 6, 2018.
So Mayor and Council, I just handed out the abstract that was provided to us by the County Auditor. So what we've done in the past is read the results off of the abstract. So for Gary, Chad, and Steve, I provided precinct 1 to you, Gary.
Yep.
Also highlighted are just the overall results, if you want to read that first. And on page 3 of 5 are the precinct results. So Gary, you have precinct 1, Chad, you have precinct 2, and Steve, you have precinct 3.
So we need to read those off.
All right, total number of people registered as of 7 a.m., 8,014. Then just the highlighted stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor Hutchinson, Gary T. Forcier, 4,581, 127 write-in. Council seat 1, Hutchinson, Mary Christensen, 4,492, write-in 43. Council seat 2, John Loftaw, 1,755, Dave Sebesta, 3,205, write-in 16. Precinct 1, 1,506 for mayor. Gary T. Forcier, write-in 36. Council seat 1, Mary Christensen, 1,474, write-in 9. Council seat 2, John Loftaw, 545, Dave Sebesta, 1,064, write-in 5.
All right, for precinct 2, for the mayor seat, we had Gary T. Forcier with 1,406 votes and 44 write-ins. For council member seat 1, precinct 2, we had 1,381 votes for Mary Christensen, 17 write-ins. For seat number 2, for John Loftaw, we had 535 votes. For Dave Sebesta, 978 votes and 6 write-ins.
And precinct number 3 for the mayor, Gary T. Forcier had 1,669 votes, and there were 47 write-ins. For council member seat 1, Mary Christensen received 1,637 votes, and there were 17 write-ins. And then on council member seat 2, John K. Lofdahl received 675 votes, and Dave Sebesta received 1,163 votes, and there were 5 write-ins.
Yep, and then it's the approval resolution.
You have a motion to approve the resolution?
Make that motion?
I'll second it.
Motion by John, second by Chad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Need to sign anything, or sign that?
She's got the, yeah, sure you grab Melissa, or no, don't. Grab her, after the meeting, so.
Approval or governance, we have minutes from Hutchinson Library Board minutes from September 24th, 2018. Andy, you have anything else for us tonight?
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Tim, you have anything? Okay. Kent,
Yes, a couple things quickly.
you're up.
Project-wise, we're gonna get a little bit of warm weather here tomorrow and Thursday and get some paving done, so, yeah.
Up on the north end?
Yep, up on the north end, Northwoods Avenue, and, we'll leave that without the base course this year. We will not get the trail completed, it's looking like on Northwoods, but we'll get it probably to a gravel grade. And then, Century, phases 2 and 3, we'll get the aware course down.
So what on Northwoods, I'm sorry,
Just getting
Something.
the base course, the first lift to bituminous down.
Right now it's
Yeah,
gravel.
and that was our intention from the beginning, was to
Okay.
leave those
hoping that.
without the wear course over the winter due to the utility construction involved there, in case anything moves. But, yeah, I guess we were a little bit lucky, especially on the Century front, to get the workhorse down like we had intended, so
Trail is
that's a good thing. And then, like I mentioned, see, no trail on Northwoods. Hopefully we'll get it to the gravel grade and get the edges knocked down so it's safe out there and, yeah, pave that next year.
And they're digging on the
Pond.
South Central.
Yes, they are hard at it on the pond front, so that's good, and hopefully the weather cooperates a little bit in the next few weeks, and they won't have to deal with much frost, and,
Did they just start that today?
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause they had a lot of dirt.
Yesterday.
Excuse me.
Yesterday.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
a lot of dirt
they
moved
got
by
everything in place.
time.
Yeah, they got,
Yeah, forgot yesterday, yeah,
Sure.
obviously we weren't around yesterday, but, yeah, they were hard at it.
so how deep does that go before they hit the clay?
We'll find out, I guess. What's
It's still, it's
So
still
far, so
going?
good. The material's been decent, but, yeah, there's gonna be some, variability there as they proceed. Yep. Otherwise, Main Street, Highway 15, there was a postcard I had sent to you that went out to the adjacent business owners, and property owners downtown, kind of MinDOT's effort to, gain any feedback on the streetscaping front here as that comes to a close, the design of the streetscaping. I did have that posted on the city's website, and it was sent out on the Facebook page also, just from a general community standpoint, so that's out there.
Previously to that, though, there was a lot of, right, attempts for face-to-face contacts all through the planning of the process and, right?
Yep. Definitely, yeah, we.
Mr. Rodeberg and yourselves and
Yep,
MinDOT.
between the consultant and MinDOT's efforts and, yeah, the city, we, tried to, and the chamber also,
Right.
Mary, so, no, and I think it's just, yeah, they're gonna gather some input, they'll summarize that, if anything. They haven't heard much to date, is my understanding, and then, yeah, we'll bring everything to a head as much as we can at this point at the workshop on the 27th here. Then, yeah, lastly, leaf vacuuming, of course, this is the last week, so, yeah. Next Monday it comes to a close, so get the leaves out there.
Snow emergency notice, any updates or reminders to residents?
Yeah.
We just talked about this, come on, we're
Probably
having
should
warm
get that,
weather.
yeah, we usually, do a blast and, yeah, either in the billing or online or, yeah. Yeah, we'll, Facebook, website, yeah, we'll get that out. That's it?
Thanks, Kent. Mr. Sabora?
I don't have anything else tonight.
Mary, are you, well,
Well, first off, it's going to be Thanksgiving, so for all those that are traveling, travel safely and enjoy your holiday, enjoy your families. There's the big shopping day in Hutchinson the day after Thanksgiving, so support your local retailers in our town.
Saturday, the
And
downtown
Saturday.
Saturday,
Right.
small business
Small
Saturday.
business, right, on Saturday. But you can start shopping Friday and continue through Saturday. And there's a lot of places that are open. So just shop till you drop.
When do we get our council paycheck?
Remember our saying, there's much in Hutch, so keep it local.
There you go.
Oh, leaf pickup. Are we done? Are we totally done now?
you were sleeping. I knew it.
Through next Monday, coming Monday.
19th.
Yeah, 19th.
I was looking for something else. Because there's still leaves sitting around.
Yes, get them out there. Yeah, because, depending on the weather, the season can come to a close pretty quickly, so.
Anything else, Mary?
Nope, that's it.
John?
Really nothing.
No. Okay. Steve?
Just two things, during the workshop, I asked about maybe an update on the rental inspection program, but I was wondering, if the rental inspector could be used, if they don't already do it or someone else doesn't do it, but if they're out and about driving around, is there a need to kind of keep an eye on different improvement projects that are happening and, do they have a permit or not? Would that person be like
You're just talking about
just,
general construction?
right?
Yeah, actually, I would say, I believe all of our inspectors, that's something to keep an eye.
Just so
Yeah,
as they're driving around, okay,
And whether it's that staff or other city staff, I know, but I
yeah.
make a note of that.
Okay. And then we approved the county assessor contract, and I had sent a note to Matt about, it would be nice, I think, to get a yearly report from the assessor about the open book process, how many people are coming to have questions about their property taxes and, or the assessed value, I should say, and then what changes are made, because that affects the city and the other property owners as
I'll
well.
reach out to the assessor to
Yeah.
have them get us a report.
That's it.
Thanks, Steve. Chad?
I don't have anything else.
Oh, come on, you can talk about your nice bike trip down.
Well, I did go, since we're all infrastructure people, I went to Bentonville, Arkansas on a little mountain bike trip, and I have never seen so much park infrastructure in my life. It was insane. And I know a lot of it's Walmart, Walton Foundation money, but I've never seen it. They have just as much in little 35,000 person Bentonville as they have in Minneapolis. It is insane, but it was nice to see a very proactive parks community, so.
Again, you mentioned that's where Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart's based there, so there's a lot of bucks, but, and the Walmart Foundation does donate hundreds of millions of dollars to do it, but, man, there was bridges and trails and, it was insane, so.
I thought some of them looked kind of scary.
Yeah, there's some hairy riding down there, so.
Nothing over Chad, though.
Right. Yeah, I was
There was no
Right on.
marks on him,
Yeah, I
so
was
he
the-
did good.
I was the biggest big-time rider down there, so.
Yeah, thanks, Chad. Matt?
Quick reminder, offices will be closed next Thursday and Friday, obviously, for Thanksgiving. I know there's a skilled workforce summit here in town on Thursday. I know from the chamber. I'm not sure when the deadline was, the Senate might already come and gone, but that's being held at the high school, so.
Next Thursday and Friday?
Next Thursday and Friday we're closed. I was talking about this Thursday is the skilled workforce, so.
I did go over, I had to go to canvass the county results, and I was kind of shared it with you guys, that I was just kind of interesting that for absentee voters, there was 997 absentee voters in Hutchinson. Countywide, there was 2,222, so there was a lot of, I know, Alyssa, you were really busy. I was surprised how many absentee voters there were, but it's kind of a convenience for people that, can't get out.
And you said there were 18,000 voters in McLeod County?
2135, it says.
It's 35,800.
Yeah. So it was 71.55% turnout, so that's pretty good for a off-year election, so. With that, adjournment's in order.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Chad, second by Steve to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Is that yours?